Hi, I'm Chelsea, and I'm a recruiter at Microsoft. Today we're going to talk about what it means to be a PM on a product team, our PM roles, and what to expect in your interviews. I'm here with Grace and Anjay.
Hi, I'm Anjay. I'm a PM working on Azure applications. I've been with Microsoft for 5 years, first as an intern and then as a full-time PM since college.
And I'm Grace. I'm a PM working on customer experiences for Microsoft Office. I also joined Microsoft as an intern, and I've been a full-time PM now for almost 2 years.
Let's start with what it means to be a PM on a Microsoft product team. There are many types of PM roles at Microsoft. Our teams work on a broad range of products and services. Focus areas of the roles may be technical, user experience, customer engagement, or business initiatives. Keep in mind that most product PMs are not project managers.
That's right, Chelsea. A product PM collaborates with engineers, designers, researchers, data scientists, and others to turn ideas and customer needs into products or features. As a PM, you might spend your day analyzing data to help understand the customer's experience, preparing pitches for new features, or developing feature specs.
And while your day-to-day as a PM may vary, one thing is certain. There are key attributes all PMs bring to their teams, such as customer focus, collaboration, drive for results, communication skills, and adaptability.
We'll go over those today to help you feel prepared to ace your interviews, along with some example questions and tips from Anjay and Grace based on their own experience.
Your interviews are likely to include questions about your resume, behavioral questions, technical questions, brainstorming questions, and long format questions that are often called design or product questions.
For technical questions, an interviewer might want you to demonstrate your understanding of how a technical concept listed on your resume functions or its user experience. Talk about a technology you've expressed an interest in, or discuss a problem their team is solving to see how you approach new concepts.
We also know that a lot of you want to know more about the PM design question, so we'll take you through an example. Now, Anjay and I would like to share some tips from our own interviewing experiences. Anjay, would you like to start?
Thanks, Grace. I'd love to. First of all, be yourself. We're looking for diverse perspectives and want to understand what makes you unique. What strengths do you bring? Emphasize that in your responses. And we'll also ask questions just to get to know you. Also, you should ask questions. If you don't understand something about the question, ask. For example, if you're solving a problem, ask questions to help scope the problem so you know where to focus. And don't be afraid to pause or ask for time to gather your thoughts or take notes before responding. Preparing a couple of questions for your interviewer, such as about the role or their team, also shows your interest. Remember, you're also interviewing Microsoft. And one more, and this is so important, learn from feedback. Listen closely when interviewers give you tips or other feedback. Think about how you can incorporate what you learn, not just in this interview, but in your remaining interviews as well. Self-awareness and a growth mindset are great qualities to demonstrate. After all, we all have our growth areas. Okay, I'll stop there. Grace, I know you've got some tips you'd like to share.
Thanks, Anjay. I do. First, regardless of the type of question, take a PM mindset to your answer. Here's what I did, here's what I would have done next, how you would improve it, what went wrong, what went right. A lot of people tend to focus on what they produced, not how they did it. Next, remember that there's almost never one right answer. We want to see how you are communicating and the questions you are asking. Slow down. If you're comfortable, think out loud, or if it's available to you, write notes on a whiteboard. Whether you prefer visual or verbal communication, sharing your thought process can help the interviewer understand how you break down problems and solve them. For example, if you make assumptions to answer a question, verbalize those assumptions to confirm that you and the interviewer are aligned.
Thanks, Grace and Anjay. As mentioned at the start of this video, there are several key attributes that we at Microsoft look for in PMs. Grace and Anjay have touched on a few of these in their tips. Let's do a quick overview. Customer focus. Do you evaluate things from the customer's perspective and focus on creating great customer experiences? Adaptability and dealing with ambiguity. Do you seek information, test your assumptions, and adapt based on changing situations? Collaboration and communication. Do you create clarity in your communication? Do you build trust and respect when working with others? Are you inclusive of others' perspectives? How we collaborate and engage with others also applies to Microsoft's commitment to diversity and inclusion, and that's a priority for every Microsoft employee. Growth mindset. Do you take feedback and adjust? Can you utilize things that didn't go well to inform the next opportunity? Drive for results. Do you set realistic goals and success measures? Do you plan for contingencies? Problem solving. Do you identify issues, inputs, and outcomes to scope problems? How do you learn about a new area to better solve a problem? And influencing without authority. As a PM, you're often pitching a new idea or driving a solution with others on teams outside of your own. Are you able to see situations from others' perspectives and adapt your communication to find shared paths forward? Now, Anjay and Grace are going to take you through a design question.
Great, I love this part. Design or product questions might focus on creating a user experience or be more strategic in nature. To get you started, we'll share a couple here and then take you through one example of what an answer might look like. A lot of these questions are straightforward, such as design an elevator system for a new high-rise building. Okay, you might be thinking, wait, how on earth is that straightforward? I am in no way a mechanical engineer. And don't worry, nobody expects you to be one. You've probably taken a lot of elevators in your life and in a lot of different types of buildings, right? Well, the job of the PM is to understand who the customers are and define their requirements. For example, you might ask clarifying questions, such as whether it's an office building, a residential building, or a hotel. That answer can help you identify the possible different customers and start to think about requirements, such as how many people might the elevator need to handle. Do you need security features for floors that only some people can get to? And what does an elevator system do when two people on different floors call it at the same time? Regardless of the specific question, remember these steps as you approach your answer. First of all, define the problem. Don't start with the solution. Ask some clarifying questions. Explicitly talk through your assumptions. Use the whiteboard to demonstrate your thought process and stay aligned with your interviewer. Think about the customer at every stage. Iterate on your design and define success. How would you measure whether your approach is successful? Consider PM work beyond the question, such as how you're going to market the product or other possible solutions. Grace, would you like to take us through an example?
Definitely. My favorite question from when I was interviewing was design a phone for a baby.
All right then, Grace, design a phone for a baby.
Okay, I would like to start with a clarifying question. Do we have existing data about what already exists on the market, or should I assume we're filling a market gap?
This is a new product. You're filling a market gap.
Okay, thanks. Then I'd like to start by defining the problem. First, I'll assume that a baby is 0 to 2 years old. Next, I'll assume that a phone is a connected device that can make calls, send messages, allows people to play games. Third, I'll assume that a baby needs a phone to go to daycare for emergency situations. And finally, in this situation, I'll assume that the customer is the parents.
Sounds great. Let's get to it.
In real life, I would seek existing data, conduct user research to understand the need, do a competitive analysis to understand what already exists, and explore possible solutions. For our purposes here, I'm going to assume we've already done that. So based on our research and understanding of the problem, it seems like the customer, the parents, are looking for a device that can be used in an emergency, allows them to communicate with their child, and allows them to track their child. So I'm not done, but I'm going to step out of the demo here to point out that you're seeing a pattern. I'm working through the problem and showing my thought process at each step as I go. Your interviewer might also give you feedback or make suggestions as you work through this. If so, take that feedback and adapt. You can also check in with your interviewer to confirm you're on the same page as you proceed. And as you work through your answer, do the same with the remaining steps. For example, next I would look at what we need to change in the current definition or design of a phone to meet the needs of a parent and the capabilities of a baby. Then I would talk about my proposed solution, perhaps a wristband that acts as a walkie-talkie, a tracking device, or an emergency notification device. And once I share my proposed solution, I'm still not done, because a PM's job doesn't stop after we pitch the first version of a product. Next, I would conduct user research to understand how our planned device meets requirements. I'll identify metrics for how we test the success of the product after initial release, and I'll also consider aspects for how I might collect telemetry. Additionally, I'll consider aspects beyond the question. How do we productize this new creation? For example, what is the expected total addressable market? How would you market and distribute it? then how might you iterate on it for future versions? And what type of feedback would you seek to drive future changes? And finally, even if you have a great potential solution, it's also good to keep in mind and to share with your interviewer other possible directions you might have taken. Okay, anything I missed, Anjay?
No, Grace, I think you nailed it.
Thanks, Grace and Anjay. That was fun. And thanks everyone for watching. We hope that you found the tips in this video helpful and that you're excited for your interviews. We look forward to seeing you in the hallways of Microsoft soon. Bye for now.